She said it wasn't for my own good, but she was hiding something far worse. My name is Lucas Trent, and for 3 years, I was legally dead. To be clear, I wasn't actually dead. I was breathing, eating, thinking. But as far as the world knew, I had disappeared without a trace, and my loving wife, Emily, told everyone I'd run off with some woman I met online. They believed her. Everyone did. I wish I had. When I met Emily, she was everything I'd ever wanted. Smart, charming, just the right mix of sweet and sarcastic. We got married after only 6 months of dating. Everyone said it was too soon. I said they were jealous. At first, everything was perfect. Then, small things began to shift. She got strangely territorial. Changed the locks without telling me. Monitored who I talked to. But I ignored it. Love makes you blind and apparently deaf and stupid too. The day it all changed, I came home from work and the house was unusually quiet. I called out to her, no answer. Then, suddenly, a sharp pain to the back of my head. I woke up in the basement. Tired. Naked. Cold. And Emily? Standing over me with a smile like she was proud of herself. "You'll thank me someday," she said. I screamed. She shut the door. And that was day one of the longest nightmares of my life. At first, I thought it was some kind of sick joke. That maybe I'd passed out, hit my head, and this was just a confused hallucination. But when I woke up again, the restraints were tighter and the lights were off. The concrete floor was cold beneath me, and my wrists were starting to bleed from the zip ties. Emily came down the next morning cheerful, like nothing was wrong. "Breakfast time," she chirped, placing a bowl of what looked like oatmeal near the door. "Eat up, you need your strength." I tried to talk. To reason. To beg. She just smiled. "You always said you needed a break from work, from people, from everything. Well, now you've got it." Then she left again. First week was pure panic. I screamed until my throat tore. I cried until I couldn't breathe. I pissed in a bucket she left in the corner. I couldn't tell what day it was, just darkness and the distant hum of the house above me. She kept bringing food. Once a day, always bland, always just enough to keep me alive. I heard voices upstairs sometimes. Yes. Laughter. At one point, I swear I heard my mother's voice. Emily let her into the house and talked with her like nothing was wrong. I screamed from below. Kicked the walls. Not then. No one heard. Or maybe they did and thought I was a figment of their imagination. Eventually, she untied me, sort of. Gave me a mattress, a blanket, even a tiny desk and paper. "I need you to write," she said one day. "Write about how much you needed this, how grateful you are." I refused. She didn't bring food the next day. I wrote. Not because I meant it, but because I didn't want to die. And over time, I started to believe the things I was writing. That maybe I was broken. Maybe she was fixing me. That this was for my own good. That's the worst part of it all. You can lock a man in a room, but the real prison is in his mind. And Emily was very, very good at building cages. The human brain does something terrifying when it's deprived of light, sound, and human contact. It adapts. After a few months, I stopped asking when she'd let me go. I stopped fighting. I stopped counting the days on the wall. I started calling the basement home. Emily would come down once a day, always cheerful, always bringing food, sometimes even talking to me like a friend. She'd ask me how I was feeling, like I was a patient, and she was my nurse. I played along. Eventually, she gave me books. Old ones. Psychology, self-help, even fiction. I read every page. Twice. Then she started bringing me notebooks again, asking me to write letters to myself. Or to her. She always read them. One day, she came down in a white sundress, barefoot, hair tied back like she was going to a picnic. She sat across from me, crossed her legs, and said, "Lucas, I think you're ready for a reward." A reward. She pulled out a small TV and a DVD player. No cable. Just one disc labeled our wedding. I watched her smile. Dance. Yes. I didn't cry. I couldn't anymore. "I need you to remember why we're doing this," she said, leaning in close. Her breath smelled like peppermint. "This is love, real love, the world doesn't understand, but we do." I nodded. Not because I agreed. Because I knew what would happen if I didn't. She left humming our wedding song. But that night, something in me cracked. Watching that video didn't bring back love. It brought back rage. I remembered who I was. Who she had taken from me. And I realized if I ever wanted to get out of here, it wouldn't be by playing along anymore. I needed to lie. I needed to become what she wanted me to be. I needed to make her trust me. Because now, finally, I had a plan. The plan started small. I began calling her Angel when she came down. I complimented her cooking, even when it was cold beans or dry rice. I asked about her day. I smiled when she talked. At first, she didn't buy it. She'd narrow her eyes, watching for sarcasm. But over time, her shoulders relaxed. She stayed longer. She talked more. About her job, about our neighbors, even about the cut I didn't know we had now. "You're getting better," she said one night, stroking my hair. I knew this would work. That was the first time she kissed me since locking me down here. I forced myself not to flinch. She started bringing me upstairs. Only for short visits supervised. Bathroom breaks, or to eat dinner at the kitchen table like old times. She kept the front door double locked and wore the key around her neck. I never looked at it directly, but I memorized every detail, the way it dangled when she leaned forward, the exact place she hung it while she showered. Every trip upstairs was a test. I'd sit, behave, thank her. She beamed with pride like I was a student finally passing the class. "You almost ready," she said once. "I think you'll be a new man soon." I kept thinking about what that meant. Would she let me go? Release me into the world? Or was ready just another level of control? Then one night, I found my opportunity. She forgot to lock the bathroom door behind me. I was brushing my teeth, my first time seeing a mirror in over 2 years. I didn't recognize the man staring back. Sunken cheeks. Hair like straw. Pale. Broken. But my hands were steady. I opened the cabinet. Inside, tweezers, scissors, razors, tiny things. Tools. I grabbed one, slipped it into my sleeve, and returned to the basement with a smile. That night, I couldn't sleep. My heart was racing. The razor blade felt like a secret weapon pressed to my arm under the blanket. Tomorrow I'd begin phase 2, getting the key. I knew I couldn't overpower her. I wasn't strong enough. But trust? Trust was her weakness. And I was about to become her favorite person in the world. I started studying her like a hunter studies prey. Her routines. A habit. What made her laugh? What made her angry? I complimented her at just the right moments. I apologized for imaginary sins. I told her she was right about everything, especially about me needing help. "You're the only person who ever really saw me," I whispered once, eyes locked with hers. She cried. That night she brought wine downstairs. Real wine. We drank together, her eyes glossy with pride and alcohol. "I'm so proud of you, Lucas," she slurred. "You've come so far." She rested her head on my shoulder, humming softly. And for a split second, I almost believed it. That this was intimacy. That we were close again. But then I felt the razor blade dig into my wrist just enough to remind me it was still there. Still sharp. And I remembered exactly where I was. The next week, I made my move. I asked her to let me cook. "For you," I said. "Like I used to." She hesitated, but I watched the emotions flicker across her face, control battling with desire. And desire won. She let me upstairs again, unlocked the kitchen drawer, handed me a dull knife. Not yet. Not this time. I chopped vegetables. Made the worst omelette known to man. She said it was perfect. I told her she was beautiful. When she went to shower that night, I followed her quiet as a shadow stood just outside the bathroom door, heart pounding. And there it was, the necklace with the key, hanging on the hook. Inches from freedom. I took it. I didn't run. Not yet. I went back downstairs, hid it beneath the loose board under the mattress. Then I waited. For days. Because if she noticed it was missing, she'd tear the house apart. Me apart. But she didn't. She thought she'd won. Until 3 nights later, when I heard her snoring in bed above me, deep and heavy. I slipped the key into my palm. Tried it on the basement door. Click. I almost screamed. I opened the door slow as death. The hallway smelled like cinnamon. I crept through the living room, toward the front door, every creak in the wood sounding like thunder. Then suddenly her voice. "Lucas." I turned. She stood in the hallway. No makeup. Hair messy. Holding a knife. "You lied to me." I didn't move. Neither did she. Front door was 2 feet behind me. And in that moment, I realized. Only one of us was getting out alive. My hand tightened around the key, slick with sweat. She stepped closer, barefoot, knife trembling just slightly in her grip. "Put it down," she said softly. "We were so close. You were almost healed." "Emily," I said, voice dry, cracking. "You're sick. You need help." She laughed. A short, broken sound. "You think this was me being sick? I saved you. The world would have eaten you alive, but down there you were safe. You were finally mine." The knife glinted under the hallway light. My body screamed to run, to lunge, to scream for help, but I knew she'd planned for this moment. If I made one wrong move, she'd stab me. Or worse, drag me back down and seal that door forever. So I did the only thing she didn't expect. I dropped the key. Her eyes followed it, stunned. And in that second of hesitation, I grabbed the lamp from the side table and swung. Glass shattered. She screamed, staggered, fell back. I bolted past her, wrenched open the door, and ran barefoot into the night. I didn't stop. Not when my foot hit gravel. Not when branches sliced my arms. I ran until I saw headlights. A truck slowed. The driver jumped out wide-eyed. I must have looked insane, gaunt, bloodied, barely dressed. I need the police, I gasped. She kept me locked up. 3 years, please. Everything after that blurred. Hospital rooms. Police reports. Photographs. Statements. The looks of disbelief followed by horror as the truth unraveled. Emily was arrested the same now. They found the basement just as I'd left it to mattress, bucket, notebooks full of her therapy exercises. They called it one of the most disturbing domestic abuse cases in state history. People asked me why I didn't escape sooner. Why I played along. I don't answer those questions anymore. Because the truth is, part of me never left that basement. The darkness still lives under my skin. I still wake up expecting to hear her footsteps on the stairs. And some nights I still hear them. Emily's awaiting trial. She's pleading insanity. And me? I'm alive. But freedom doesn't feel the way I thought it would. Not when you've been buried alive by someone who told you it was love.